Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Single Muslim Live Call-In, sponsored by SingleMuslim.com here on British Muslim TV. I welcome you all, dear viewers, watching here at the studio. I'm here in Wakefield and I'm so excited. I want you all to call in for the show. We have obviously addressing all the challenges that you may be having being a single Muslim. I'd like to also welcome a very special guest of mine today who is also a relationship coach. We're going to have two heads today to answer any of your issues. We're going to be talking mainly about finding love and relationships after divorce. Obviously, send in any questions that you have regarding being a single Muslim, but we will be focusing on this. Firstly, I'd like to welcome my guest, Saiqa Riad. Assalamu alaikum. Saiqa, how are you today?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm good, I'm fasting. How are you?
Of course, inshallah, everything is well with you and you're safe. And thank you so much for your time and joining me in the studio. As you know, I've been having, the Single Muslim show week after week, trying to address issues which single Muslims are actually facing right now. Please do send in your questions to the studio. You can actually, do it via Facebook, YouTube, or any other method. But I would really appreciate you calling into the studio and speak to me live on air on 01924 231 083. The number again, 01924 231 083. So, as we were mentioning that, obviously, we love to have relationships and we obviously enter into relationships, which is with the intention that it is for life. Unfortunately, there are many circumstances, especially in this day and age, that many couples are ending up with divorce. A lot of the times, it can even be from newlyweds to even people that have invested in marriage for years. So, Saiqa, what is your sort of like experience with regards to the divorce rate, and why do you think that these are actually on a high right now, especially in our Muslim community?
Subhanallah. Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me to the show. Divorce is a completely heartbreaking and very, very difficult process to go through, whether you're a man or a woman. And a lot of this occurs because people genuinely don't know the gravity of what it takes to make a relationship work and how much work is needed inside the marriage. I think people just go in because we have this fairy tale notion, portrayed by the media, that you're going to meet your Prince Charming or, your princess, whatever you want to call it, and you live happily ever after. But subhanAllah, the reality is completely different. My experience has come also, I have been through a very painful and difficult breakup myself. That was my personal experience. And then, alhamdulillah, later on I qualified as an NLP practitioner and a relationship coach, wanting to serve those people who are in this position.
Right, that is very interesting, and thank you for sharing your personal story. So, like we here in the studio, please do call in. We're only here to actually help you, and your voice is really important. You're the one that's going to drive this discussion, and we don't just want to give you the tips and strategies unless also you also participate. So please do call in 01924 231 083. You have Saiqa and myself to address any issues you have being a single Muslim. We're here to help you. It's an important month and there's lots going on. So, okay, we have a caller already. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Welcome. You're live on British Muslim TV. What would you like to say?
I want to request you, sister, because I'm illiterate, I can't read right, and I'm looking now. I'm very bad situation, and I'm looking for the wife like teacher, friend. Fasting to my teacher and complete my deen.
Okay. All right. So tell me about yourself a little bit.
25 years, 24, Allah, I'm not remember, 23, 24, 25 years in this country.
Okay.
I'm living alone. And before working, but now I got disabled in the situation. It's a long story. I can't tell you much.
No, that's fine. Just tell me, what sort of methods have you used in order to find somebody in the past or even currently? What are you using right now?
I'm going to use the electric card, what is name? Going to 3-4 times Pakistan, 5 times. And I apply again I don't know, the solicitor applied for indefinite. So for leave to renew, I don't know, no idea.
Okay.
I'm not remember.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate your calls. We're going to address that question together. Yes, there is a lot of stigma against certain individuals that are in the community that are facing some sort of like, disabilities, or there is a stigma attached to that. It should not deter anybody from getting married. So have you come across this kind of like situation where people are looking for marriage, they actually have been struggling? It's hard enough generally, but with the stigma that is attached against certain individuals, how would you overcome something like that?
So I've come across a brother, subhanAllah, that I'm working with right now. He's from Birmingham and he's British born and he didn't even do his GCSEs. So that definitely lowers his self-confidence and self-esteem. Now, what I would say is if a person is new in this country and they don't have any family and, they're going through that, it's definitely going to be hard for them. We don't disagree to that. But then they have to put in the work and, learn to speak English, go to college, build up your confidence, start working, start building your experience. If people are using this as a barrier, though it shouldn't be, unfortunately, we live in a day and age where people are known by their titles and their status, and
of course,
subhanAllah. So it's not your conditions that determine your destiny, it's the decisions you make.
Absolutely.
So I would say that, subhanAllah, you make them decisions, be firm on them, work hard, and inshallah you can achieve anything you want in life.
That is so true. Yeah, no, that is so true. I mean, even discussing this before, going through self-development is one of the ways of actually gaining that confidence and self-esteem, and regardless of your circumstance and situation. And if you strive for that, inshallah, I'm sure the brother that's called will actually find his partner. Don't look at what is holding you back. Look at what and focus on who you are and what you can actually strive to be as an individual in the optimal level that you are. We cannot even sort of compare to anybody else or even have these kind of sort of like lists that everyone abides by. We need to actually live life where you have to be the best version of yourself, whatever that may be, but you've got to continue working on yourself. What about people that now have gone through divorce? I do find that sometimes people find that they need to jump into a relationship straight away, and others find that they will not want to enter one again. I also feel that there is a definite balance between the two, and obviously with individuals it does differ. Personally, going through sort of being, with relationship coaching for many years and talking to couples, it does depend on the individual. However, there are stages that one individual goes through after divorce, which I think most individuals are not aware of. After divorce is like a grieving process, and you are going to go through the stages of that grief. So you need to understand that for yourself, so that when you go through those stages, you can enter into the next relationship having dealt with those stages and not carrying that extra baggage from the past. And I think that's what's really important for any individual. Sometimes they say it can take 6 months, sometimes 2 years, sometimes less. That's not the issue. The issue is that people that are going or have done, the divorce, and they want to move on to the next relationship, it's really important for them to understand that, they have learned from that mistake, even if it's not theirs. Everybody has a part to play, and then they've learned from that journey in order to move to the next stage. What are the other tips that you would advise a divorcee when looking for the next relationship?
I would personally say become healed, whole and complete in yourself first. Really understand who you are, what you want in your life, and the patterns of behavior that potentially, we all make mistakes in life, subhanAllah, and the patterns of behavior that didn't serve you in your last marriage, to really work on them and understand. You need to understand, because people have a blueprint, right? Every single person has a blueprint, how they behave. You have we have beliefs, and from them beliefs we have some really limiting beliefs. So you're trying to fight the cause and not the effect. You know, your blueprint is made out of 5 things. It's made out of your core beliefs, your life values, your references, the habitual questions you ask yourself, subhanAllah, and even the emotional states you experience. When you change one of these things, when you take ownership, when you take control and you say, you know what, I'm going to change, I'm in control of my life, I've made mistakes, I'm going to change this problem that I've got, you can immediately produce a powerful and measurable change in your life, because you're fighting the cause, you're getting to the core of the issue and not the effect. And once that is solved, because a lot of people naturally, divorce is very heartbreaking. It's really, really difficult.
It is, yes. People don't really realize the impact of divorce. Sorry to interrupt you there. I just want to also remind the viewers, please do call in with your questions. It's really important that you do call in with your challenges, and this is what the show is about, is to actually assist you, and we can only do that with your call. Please call in on 019-2423-1083. I also want to say assalamu alaikum to everyone who is watching from Facebook, YouTube, and everyone that is commenting, and I will definitely have a look at them and try and get back to you later on. I think a lot of people are actually sharing their numbers and asking for, you know, a partner, which is not really going to help. You need to call in and you need to sort of ask me, what are your actual challenges, so that at the end of the day, I am a single Muslim relationship coach. Saiqa and I have the expertise to help you through your journey. And inshallah, we will help you in that way. That's probably the actual, you know, a lot of us are going to get sort of like messages with regards to finding the other one a spouse. And to be honest, the way you find a spouse is actually doing it yourself. And we're here as a catalyst to open up the sort of like discussion so that we can give you ideas and different ways. And most importantly, it's really about working on yourself from wherever you are. A lot of the times, yes, we've discussed about self-development, but I also want to address Saiqa, especially, I'm sure you're aware of it, especially in our Muslim community. Unfortunately, there is a huge stigma against divorcees, and even for anyone choosing a divorcee, and especially if you're a women divorcee. Maybe men can move on a lot quicker, and they normally won't have the children as well if they're involved. So what is your thoughts on that? Because I think that this is something that we have to address. People that are divorced doesn't mean if they are divorced they've actually made a mistake. Sometimes they're in it. Oh, sorry, we have a caller online. Salaamu alaikum. Hello.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. You're live on British Muslim TV. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I am very much appreciate your program. Actually, a lot of people are struggling to find their perfect partner, especially in the Muslims in this country.
Okay.
Because most of the Muslim girls, they keep themselves reserved. They use veil. So, and we cannot easily find them. It's really difficult for us to get a proper Muslim girl.
Okay, so you're saying that it's difficult to find Muslim girls. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Because they are like a diamond. They keep, hide themselves with hijab.
I think real is rare, subhanAllah. Real things are rare, definitely. They're going to be hard to find.
So I'm actually looking for a long time, a perfect partner. But how can I find them? I easily find a lot of girls in a road and bar and theater, but they're not the girl what I'm looking for actually.
I understand.
So that's why I'm struggling. But another thing, I sign up in Single Muslim apps also, and there is a paid app, and whenever I sign up there, I paid there, but after a few days.
Okay. We can address this with you if you stay on the line. Can you maybe answer the question, Saiqa? As he was saying, it's very difficult to find Muslim women out there. Do you agree with that?
I think there's a lot of Muslim women and men, both, probably a bit more women that are looking to get married. And yes, it's difficult to kind of filter out which person is going to be compatible with you, who's got the right values and everything. It's definitely difficult because we live in that day and age of everything's very instant and you get it quickly. You just have to, there's no shortcut way of finding that person. The Prophet ﷺ has told us that we tie our camel first, we do whatever work we need to do, and then we put our trust in Allah. So it's maybe looking at them websites that you trust and, you know, and filtering out what do you want in a wife.
Yeah.
Are you the qualities you're looking for in a wife? Do you possess them qualities yourself? How is your connection with Allah? Is that the same level you're looking for in your wife? You know, how is your behavior? What are some of the things that you can improve upon? And, you know, and then looking for that. And it's just a matter of patience, subhanAllah, because a lot of it is to also do with tawakkul and having trust in Allah. That when this thing is destined for you, you just have to put in the effort.
Absolutely. I love your answer to that. You absolutely highlighted some very, very interesting points. I think a lot of the times...
Thank you. You highlighted a lot of important things.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate your call as well, and it's really brave of you to call in. Please do call in and with any other questions. This is what it's about, and I really appreciate it. 01924231083. I'm really, really happy to hear more and more people calling in, and to be honest, like I said, this is how the conversation is going to be driven, you know, with your direction. And before we had the caller, I was talking about the stigma against divorcees. Saiqa, what is your opinion on that? I mean, as Muslims, we shouldn't have this kind of thing. We shouldn't even be looking down on any person, regardless. We shouldn't be looking down on anybody regardless of their status. If, you know, a divorce happens, yes, it is the most hated thing, but unfortunately sometimes it does end in that, and unfortunately it is happening more and more. But it does not mean that the life stops, and it doesn't mean that an individual cannot move on. But it's not even about finding love when you're single. It's finding love when you're after, you know, marriage, and that marriage didn't work out. Do you think that actually says something about an individual, or do you think that that individual actually can be probably more prepared for marriage second time round?
I think there's a couple of things to address here. Firstly, the stigma can be for both the man and the woman. In different communities, it's kind of a bit more for women. This is not from Islam to look down upon somebody who's been divorced. This is not from the Prophet ﷺ. You know, he married women that were older than him, that were divorced, that were in different conditions, subhanAllah. So we have to be a bit more open-minded. Yeah, you should do your homework properly, but really the stigma hasn't got anything. This is cultural. You know, and you shouldn't put your culture before what your Islamic values are, because if you do that, your culture is just going to lead you wherever. But rather, Islam is the standard, the base point that we judge and we make our decisions upon.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think a lot of us are getting lost in translation with regards to our religious values and the cultural values. And I've always said this before, and I'll say it again, that we can enjoy culture to an extent, and we can celebrate culture, but if it does infringe in our Islamic values, then obviously we have to think twice. And it's very clearly stated that it's actually a blessing to actually take on somebody who even especially has kids and things like that. So anyway, I want to go back to the Facebook messages. So he's saying that people need to increase their tolerance level in our society, which is absolutely true. That's what we're trying to say. So they need to, we don't actually have that tolerance and patience within individuals in relationships. We look at relationships, like you mentioned at the beginning, where it has to be instant. We don't fight for it. We don't even work at it like as if it's an investment, and we want to keep at it. And as soon as something goes wrong, we want to look for something better and new, and the grass is not greener on the other side majority of the time. So I like to also say thank you so much for the messages, because I can actually see that the brothers are actually expressing solidarity towards you know, the divorcees, especially when there are children involved. So I really appreciate that, and thank you so much for all your messages from everywhere. So what would be the methods generally for looking for a relationship? Because I mean, when you're single and you're new into it, that is something that may be easy, but when you're, after a divorce, it can be quite, daunting to think that I'm going to put myself out there again, and especially when you're not the same person that you were when you first got married for the first time. You can answer me quickly because we do have a break, and then we'll come back to it after a while.
Sorry, what was your question, Fahima?
I was just saying, it's fine. I do sort of tend to...
Not there, but which was the question?
There's lots of questions, but yeah, it's basically finding... it's basically answering how to actually find love after divorce, because it can be more daunting than when it's the first time around.
I think the most important thing is not worry about how you're going to find love, because there's a lot of people who are looking for marriage. We don't say that there's not any people left. Rather, the key aspect here, the focus should be, okay, I've been through this difficult experience. What have I learned from it? What am I going to change from it? And what am I going to bring to my next marriage, inshallah, to make it work and to make it adhere to what a marriage should actually be. That's where the focus should be.
That's so true, because a lot of us are looking outside and we should be looking more within. And when we manifest...
once you start, subhanAllah, once you accept responsibility and say, you know what, I'm 100% responsible for my behavior, what I do, and my happiness, and then inshallah you'll end up attracting that as well subconsciously.
Absolutely.
So that's more important than the wait that people are, complaining about and saying it's taking too long, I can't find someone, I've tried this, there's not enough good people, etc. I think the key is when you work on yourself, you shift your perspective, you shift your focus, and subhanAllah, life is completely different to you then.
Absolutely. No, I second everything you say. Yeah,
you see through a different pair of glasses or a different pair of lens. When you put that lens on, everything becomes a lot more clearer. Alhamdulillah.
It's so true. I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's just that I find that a lot of people are not on the self-development sort of journey. And I know, like with you and myself, we've been on that. And there's quite a lot of people out there that may understand. But unfortunately, a lot of people are just, like you said, they just have a blueprint that they grow up, they study, they learn, and the next stage is just marriage, children, and then and then it just continues in that. But we need to obviously, this is why the show is here, to highlight that life is not like that. That cycle is not necessarily the only way, and also sometimes not even the right way. We need to really learn over time about our own identity and our meaning and purpose in life. And yes, even though in Islam, marriage is half your deen, but you should be going at it from a different angle, not necessarily just looking for the perfect partner or the perfect match, but actually try and work on being that yourself first.
Yeah,
and there's different steps to do that. Thank you again so much for all your messages, and I'm so overwhelmed by everyone that's watching on Facebook and YouTube, and I just want to say thank you again for everyone that's here. We will be going to a break shortly, but please do stay tuned. We have the number on call. Please do hang on and wait for it when, if you can, get through, because I've got so many calls coming in, but we'll take it after the break. It's 01924 231 083, and I'm so, happy to have Saiqa, someone who is also trained in understanding relationships, understanding human behavior. And I think for this kind of topic, I really needed two heads to sort of handle this. And I'm so grateful that you're here with me today.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. We also have a lot of messages that are saying that, we are, struggling to find love, and especially after divorce is like gaining that confidence. We will come back to that question after the show, but I just want to give you some food for thought. And also, viewers, please stay tuned. We will be back with more, addressing more issues, and hopefully we'll hear more from yourself in the studio with more calls. Please remember to dial in at 01924 231 083, and we're here on standby, just making sure that we can give you and serve you with any issues that you have. We're here as a relationship coach. We're here to address your challenges, whatever it may be, being a single Muslim. This is what the show is about, is to help you, not for you to send in your numbers, for you to call in yourself and tell us how you are dealing with this. Look in the break at some of the Single Muslim, Android by Apple and all of these things that are there. Website, we have a lot of details there. We will be back and we'll see you after the break. Stay tuned and call in after. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Single Muslim Live Call-In. And you're here watching on British Muslim TV. I welcome you all watching from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter, Sky, Freeview and from all over the globe. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much. And I want to introduce my guest back again, Saiqa Riad. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining me. Before the break, we were discussing the challenges of being divorced and finding new relationship and love again. And it is a real challenge. I know generally single Muslims have it really difficult, but when you are come from a divorced background, it is even, much more testing. And this is not what we need to be doing, especially in our Muslim communities. We should be giving more support and more understanding to this. Please do call in with any challenges, any questions. This is your show for you to discuss and direct the discussion. And if you wish to do so, please do call in on 01924231083, 01924231083. Saiqa, as we were discussing earlier, we were talking about the challenges and the platforms that people may use in order to find love again. What do you think, apart from, okay, we worked on ourselves, we've gone through the time of, healing, what are the other sort of issues do you think that someone, especially coming from a past relationship, needs to be aware of for themselves or for the other partner so that they can actually take those steps, which is actually going to help them in the future to make better decisions?
SubhanAllah. So I think a big thing, if they've done all the healing and all the work, is really understand what do they want and what are they looking for in a marriage. There's a difference between expectations, which are unrealistic and not communicated, versus an agreement. An agreement is something that both people completely know about, they're okay with it, they're happy with it, they discuss it, and they've consented to it. An expectation, on the other hand, is something that you think she'll be fine with that, or he'll be okay, I'll tell him after marriage. And when you come with that kind of baggage with you, you're going to be disappointed. So communication before the actual marriage is so important, subhanAllah, and being so real and so raw is absolutely key.
Thank you for that. I'll come back to you with that, but we do have a caller online. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome on British Muslim TV. You're live. How are you today? What would you like to say?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm fine, inshallah. I was out, but you know what? Fasting. I'm missing my cold water. Okay. I can't wait for a bit of water. It's been humid outside, so
yes, it is quite lovely today.
Things in the shopping and everything, got fresh air. I was going to say, see, because this is, see, for myself, being a Muslim, born Muslim in this country, right? I did, see, when I was 17, I met this person and he was 12 years older than me and he was married. But at the time you're young, you don't know, you make mistakes.
Of course.
I'm actually still in love with the same person, but we've never got married. So obviously I'm older now, I'm in my 30s.
Okay, so what is your current position now? Are you actively looking to find a partner that is...
No, I'm actually waiting to marry the person I met. He's not married now. He divorced his wife when he met me. And we're still in love, but we never got married because my family never accepted it. Because they thought because he's in a different caste. But for me, it was like, he's like me and we love each other. And sometimes we have our fights up and down, he comes to see me, but in Islam they would say it's haram. If I was in Saudi Arabia, they would have chopped my head off, stoned me to death. But in this country, you're allowed a partner even though you're not married.
But what's stopping you? What's stopping you? Okay, so what's stopping you from taking that step of that permanent commitment?
His mum says to me, you can't keep living in a sin because you know that you've been together on and off. She says you should get married. Just even if she says you get married like in either in the British way or Islamic way, still the same thing. I might just.
So his mum is the cause. So his mum is the cause. So his mum is the cause for you not actually getting married right now.
Sorry?
Is that the only barrier that's stopping you from getting married, his mother?
Yeah, no, my mum never allowed it. My mum said, oh, she's always said, but now we're kind of, it's no 12 years difference is nothing now, but do you know what it is? It's the Asian culture. They kept making me live in a sin. I never got married then because my mum never accepted it. Plus, I've been to social care when I was young and I've been through lots of hardship in my life, but the guy that I fell in love with, I'm still in love with him and we still love each other. And we said if we do get married, we'll go to Umrah or Hajj, and we'll ask for forgiveness and start again. And even if Allah gives me children, I'll be very happy, because I do want children. But see, my partner, he can't have children. But inshallah, who knows, Allah can give us a chance.
Well, thank you so
Can you
much.
make dua for me?
Thank you. Of course we will. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's really brave of you to come on TV and actually discuss this openly. I have tremendous respect for you. Firstly, you've got two options, Ukhti. You can do two things. Either you get the nikah done, because this relationship Islamically is not, it's not good for you to be in that situation where you're still seeing each other and you don't have rights upon one another, because that's going to just lead you into, you're going to feel worse, it's sinful, and it's not good for you mentally, emotionally either. Okay, so you either get married to him regardless of what your mum says, and you contact your local imam or somebody who knows and get it done, because if it's been going on for 12 years and you still both love each other and you definitely don't want to be with somebody else, then you can marry him. The second option is, if this is still a huge barrier and it's not happened for 12 years and you're not gaining anything out of it, he's not the only man on the planet. There is going to be other good guys out there as well for you, inshallah. And because this is an emotional attachment, it's very hard to let kind of go. So those are the two things that, you know, you have to make that decision. You have to make one decision and stick to it. Don't linger in between seeing him when he wants, seeing it when he pleases. If he really wants to be with you, he'll marry you and he'll do it the Islamic way. Don't see him, don't give him that benefit.
Yeah, no, I mean, Saiqa, what you've said is really important. I think a lot of us fail to understand that, you know, as much as we have feelings for the other person, there's emotional attachment, there's a lot of, you know, being familiar with that person, thinking that there's nobody else for us. Again, we need to obviously understand what is our meaning and purpose in this life, and we have to do things with regards to the teachings of Islam, and with regards to wanting things because of the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more that we do make decisions in this life has to be in accordance to that, even if family members, no matter how close they are, if it infringes again with your Islamic rights and values, then you are allowed to do the things that is right, because that's what's going to get you further in life. That's what's actually going to move you forward. It's not about just the other person. You deserve to have someone commit to you in that way. You deserve to have that sort of like stability.
I'm going to interrupt you, Fahima, subhanAllah. No man or woman is worth risking your relationship with your Creator. Exactly. Because men and women, and this sounds really awful, but I'm going to say, yeah, men and women, they come and go. Yes. But your relationship with Allah is the most important.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and thank you so much for that call. We have another caller, line 2. Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, they're gone. We'll go back.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
We have Sister Yasmin back on. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, it was sister. It's not that. When I said I met him when I was 17, it's more than that. I've been living with him in and out. 20 years, alhamdulillah, it's been. I've not married him. Okay. 20 years, sister.
Well, it's
so regardless. That's even longer. Then that's even more of a reason for you to either get married.
You said he is in love with me. We do want to get married. He always says to me, come to my mum's, which I went to his mum's. His mum says she gets embarrassed me coming to the house because we're not married, because it's not good for the children when they look at it. But you know what? We just never got the chance, because I never married him, because I kept saying, no, I don't want to. And you know what? But now I'm just going to marry him, inshallah, because I want to have children. But he can't have children, don't get me wrong. And his ex-wife, I've met
so you have to really look how...
She's got children now. She's happy. She's blessed me. She said that you should marry, you should get children. She's always encouraged us.
Brilliant.
If this is for you, Ukhti, and you're sure, then you need to make that firm decision and just do it.
I've been living like a sin, obviously, but I'm not scared to say this is no Saudi Arabia. They're not going to stone me to death.
Yeah.
Anyway,
at the end of the day, subhanAllah, we all make mistakes. At the end of the day, if we do anything wrong, you know, we have to repent to Allah in private, and you can do that in private. But if this is, you're 100% sure that this is the only guy for you, you've done your istikhara, and you're okay with the fact that he can't have kids, and there's no other person you want to be with, find an imam, speak to different people. I recommend Green Lane Masjid in Birmingham. Some people that I know, the imams there are excellent. Speak to them, discuss it with them, inshallah get your nikah done then. Simple.
Yeah, thank you again for your call. I really appreciate it. Please, again, I really am so overwhelmed by everyone's messages over Facebook and streaming from all sort of, you know, platforms. And I'm going to reference one of them now, actually. It's Brother Wakas on Facebook says, I don't mean to sound rude, but if people follow the teachings of the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, and were compassionate and understanding with their spouses, divorce rates will be really low. I get that. And that's his opinion, and that's very true. But unfortunately, it's much more complicated than that. What do you think of that opinion?
SubhanAllah, yes, having deen as your foundation and your, to build the house is absolutely vital.
Absolutely,
that completely,
yes.
I agree with that. Because what happens with deen, when you have love for the sake of Allah, your threshold increases, yeah? It becomes higher. You can take more and you can do more. But also, it's not just the deen. You have to look at everything else as well. Understanding your partner, the problems that they have, understanding their needs, being clear with your expectations beforehand, understanding each other on a much deeper level and really doing your homework.
Yeah, no, of course, even going back to the caller that spoke last as well, at the end of the day, I know we're living in a free country and we can do what we want, which is not really Islamic in those values, but we need to sort of like adhere to our own Islamic values regardless of where we are. And hand in hand, of course, UK law, we do follow that with regards to, in Islam it says to, obviously regard the law of the land. But at the same time, we have to obviously know that we are here in this world for our Creator, and we make decisions for our Creator, regardless of being in a place where you're going to be, like she mentioned, stoned for doing certain things. It's not about that. But yeah, I really appreciate your calls. It's really been amazing. Wakas says he agrees. Thank you so much, Wakas. I really appreciate all your messages and everything that you have posted and comments and following, BMTV frequently. I really do appreciate that and I acknowledge you. Thank you so much. And for everybody else as well, I really do appreciate your calls, your comments, and all the likes and shares. And please continue. And I would love to hear more calls in the studio live with me on taking calls with Saiqa, 01924231083. So what else would you sort of suggest to people with regards to relationships and divorce? I mean, there's so many things to talk about, and there's so many angles, and of course, having our faith is the forefront of everything. But again, us humans, we go through cycles and phases in life where we can get weak, we can make mistakes, and some of them are very detrimental, and the impact is huge. So how do we move forward after divorce and start again thinking that this is going to work? Because a lot of people do lose that self-confidence, they lose that self-esteem, they even lose completely hope in love and the trust, especially if a lot of breakups nowadays, the highest rate, unfortunately, is through infidelity. So, how do people trust again? Because a lot of people are saying, I just want to find someone who's not going to cheat. I want to find someone who I can trust. I want someone who's going to honor their word. Obviously, in my eyes, I say, if you're God-fearing, if you follow your way, that's fine. But then human behavior, unfortunately, goes up and down and it dips. So do we still stay in that relationship, even if it's quite testing and challenging? I have my answer, but I'll ask you first.
SubhanAllah, you know what, we all need to do our homework before we get married. We need to really understand who we are as people. What do we really, really want? Look at our deepest needs. Look at the things that we can improve upon in our character. Look at our connection with Allah. Is it strong? Is our foundation built on that? Are we learning the right things? Look at what am I actually asking for a partner? Is it too much? Is my list so big and so unrealistic that nobody's going to ever fit it? Looking at that and then really prioritizing that marriage list. And I did a live on this a couple of days ago on my Facebook page, subhanAllah, and really understanding what is the core, what do you really want in a marriage? It's the character, it's the person and the qualities that they have, and that person is healed, and they're gonna, when you go into a relationship, you're not going there to get something, you're going there to give.
That's so
and
true.
People go to get something with an expectation that this person's gonna fill my cup.
Yeah.
And you have to fill your own cup first. That's
I
really
think,
important.
yeah, you've made an amazing very, very useful, vital point, actually. It's so interesting because a lot of us are looking to sort of like fulfill ourselves or to, you know, complete ourselves when actually that should be done already. And like you said, you know, Islam gives us all of that. But again, we need to understand relationships in this day and age, and even from the past, to be honest, that it is a struggle. And there are going to be different challenges and tests that you take along. But, you know, a family unit is really, really important, and especially in Islam. And when it's broken, this kind of links actually to a Facebook comment. Zakia Hussein says, can we sort of maybe make suggestions as to how to build a healthy relationship with a spouse? I was about to get to that, but you've obviously questioned me before. So basically, I'm trying to say that people go through stages and phases in life, and as much as you do your homework, as much as you even try and know that person, they're going to change over stages and phases. They're going to change whether it's with the different jobs or the different ages, especially if you marry young. And you've got to have that growth mindset, and you've got to be able to develop, you know, yourself and each other, and to constantly check in on each other. And if there are any problems, like especially when people go to counselors and coaches, they normally go to those people at the very end stages of that problem where they've dealt with it for many years and they've tolerated. And I think when there's something that is sitting with you that is uncomfortable at the beginning, that's when you go seek some help. So that's when you're more likely to still have that love and mercy and patience with each other. Not when it's towards the end and when you think, you know, I'm only going to come because this is my last resort. No, you got to come at the beginning and speak to a professional. You got to seek, you know, advice and help outside your family members, people that have no biasness, direction, or any judgment on you, or even that's something that's going to come back to you. Because even if you come together and people know that you've had problems, this can be hidden. So having people like Saiqa and myself and many other people out there that can help you through your relationship, whatever it is that you feel you're tolerating, whatever it is, if you think, well, how do I know? Well, if you're not comfortable, if something doesn't sit right with you, speak about it. And then you can come to the right conversations, the right language, the right use of things when you are speaking to each other. I'm sure you have more to say on this, Saiqa, so I'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Alhamdulillah. I just want to pick up on thing you said. You said counselling as well. There's actually a difference between coaching and counselling.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselling is focused predominantly on the past, where it's a talking therapy.
Yeah.
You just sit there and you talk about your problems and you go back home. Coaching is actually completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching is future-based, where you have a strategic plan of action in place and you take them steps regularly, inshallah, to ensure that your marriage works. So there's a distinction there between coaching and counselling, because a lot of people, when they do try and when the marriage is on the last legs, they go for counselling, but actually counselling makes it worse.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you highlighted that, because a lot of people don't even mention coaches when they always say, let's go and see a marriage counsellor. But actually,
what is a counselor?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So hopefully, Saiqa, tell us more about coaching then, and what exactly, especially like, you know, you deal, and so do I obviously, but I want to learn more about you as to what are the kind of people that would come to coaches.
Everybody. You can be single, and I've got people who are single, I've got people who are married, and I've got people who are divorced, in all three categories. There's somebody who's, for example, single, mashallah, and these are professional people, right? And mashallah, she's a dentist, and she's got really, she was in an engagement and it broke off, and she's really heartbroken about it, right? So she needs a lot of help, but she can't trust men anymore. There's people who are married and saying, you know what, it's all her fault, it's all his fault. They're not accepting responsibility and they're on their last legs. There's people who are also divorced, who've gone through that really difficult and painful breakup, and now they think, you know what, happiness isn't destined for me, I'm nobody, life is over, I'm never going to find someone, that's it, I can't get over my ex, and how do I move forward? So coaching is for you regardless of what end of the spectrum you're on in your marriage or marital journey, subhanAllah, because there's always room for improvement.
There are more people on Facebook that need that support, and this is the whole purpose of this actual program. I think one comment was just highlighted saying that it's not always about religion, it's about actually the family, and it's about the pressure. She's actually the widow at a young age, and she got married after 5 years again. But then 6 years into that, she got divorced. 7 years later, after the second divorce. She wants to marry again, but unfortunately her son is against it now. Now, this is another very touchy topic, and especially when it comes to children. It's okay about, thinking about the individual who's, married once and want to have it again. And now this particular individual who wants to marry for maybe the third time. And we shouldn't make judgments, because these things do happen, by the way, okay? And there's absolutely nothing wrong in that. And I thank you again for your comment. So quickly, what would you suggest when it comes to her son not actually, championing her marrying again? We only have a few minutes left, so.
I think I would say, firstly, her son is coming from a place of love. He's probably trying to protect his mum if she's been divorced twice, and he doesn't want no one to use and abuse that situation. Maybe just hang on in there and really understand the relationship with the son first. And so you don't lose the son in the process, and you get what you want. So maybe being a bit more tactful, mindful, understanding, are you completely healed? Are you complete yourself? Is your cup full? Are you okay? What is it that you want from the marriage? Have you learned from everything that's happened? And give it some time. I wouldn't say rush into it, because kids are important as well.
Yeah, it's been a while since she even wants the third marriage. So I just think maybe it's because children do feel that sense of, security, or that parent's been taken away. And I think that...
Yeah, and they'll feel jealous. They'll feel jealous.
Of course,
naturally.
exactly.
Yeah, if you have step-parents, and if you do have step-parents and you see another man married to your mom or another woman married to your dad, you are going to initially feel that. There's no doubt.
Of course.
Yeah.
There is protection there that your children have towards you, especially as they get older. And I think, the best thing to do is actually divulge more into what is that feeling and where is that feeling coming from the son. Because it might be something simple that you can answer if you were to dig deep, and they might just be worried about you. But if you were to have a conversation, you'll understand that, if you were to explain to them that, no, I am ready for this, it doesn't matter. So hopefully, that can answer, your questions, and, seek coaches, seek, someone professional, because they would help you highlight these sort of things, because it's not about just listening to their words and taking it as it is. You don't know what the deeper meaning is behind it. Again, Saiqa, you know what? We've come to the end of the show, and I can't believe how fast it's gone. And it was an absolute pleasure to have you today. And thank you, viewers, wherever you have been streaming from, whether it's Sky Freeview, YouTube, Instagram, wherever it is, Facebook. I want to thank you so much for everyone, especially the callers that have called in. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really do appreciate you, calling in and giving your time and actually making the show happen. It is your show. And inshallah, we've answered as much as we can. And inshallah, maybe we'll have Saiqa back on again. She's been an absolute gem, giving some real tips and strategies to people. And I hope it's really answered some of your questions. And if there's any more, please do, comment afterwards. I hear the phone ringing. Unfortunately, I won't be able to answer, but please keep those comments coming. And we really want to answer it, and we will do so in the next show. And the key is to just engage with us and keep your comments coming in. We will answer it in the next show, and inshallah, we will have further challenges to do. We'll have a very, we've had a very encompassing discussion today, and I'm really pleased to have someone like yourself. Thank you again for your time, and I know you're fasting as well, and so am I, and everyone that's watching and taking the time for the show. I really do appreciate it. Please do tune in every week. We will be continuing with this discussion. Send in your questions. I really appreciate your comments. I do listen to them. It's been so amazing to be in the actual studio in Wakefield as well, because normally I'm sitting at home streaming myself. So, it's an absolute pressure. And it's a major, increase in people watching, which is really, really important to have you part of this, as this is your channel. It's your platform to answer. Please do not forget to check out the app, so the WhatsApp. And most importantly, stay tuned to British Muslim TV. And thank you, Saiqa. And inshallah, we'll see you in the next show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.